as well as mainstream media proxies and propaganda accounts, which aim to remove me as the democratically elected leader of the Accompong Maroons of Trelawney Town. The names are as follows: Vivian Cornish, Veronica Reed, Alrina Wright, Mavis Williams, Etta Rowe, Oral Chambers, Herbert Wright, Basil Dunn, Roy Blake, William Anderson, Merdy Rowe, former Colonel Merdy Rowe, who was also a candidate in the previous election and head of the council, which was created outside of the current constitution. Ferron Williams, former colonel, who was also ousted in the last election, is the head of the Security Council, which crafted the document, which was also circulated. Audie Rowe, Hedley Hutchinson, Daniel Barrett, one other notorious member, Paul Williams, Joshua Robertson, Herbert Foster, Aubrey Williams, Ina Lawrence, Frank Lennon, Sidney Rowe, and Linval Barrett, Maisie Gardner, Delroy Stedman, Sheldon Wallace, Joshua Robertson, Fabian Rowe, who I believe is a serving member in the Jamaica military, and O'Neill Anderson, Jason Martin, Peter Simpson, Andrew Rowe, and Garth Chambers. All have engaged in an unconstitutional act. Now we're still awaiting confirmation from these members because some have already reached out to me directly, and that I will disclose at a later date. There is absolutely no provision in the lawfully ratified constitution of Accompong that allows Council of Elder, a so-called Grand Council, and a so-called Security Council to engage in secret meetings and secret voting behind closed doors and out to oust a lawfully sitting chief. Furthermore, the so-called meeting that took place yesterday at the primary school did not actually take place. We were at the primary school up to late yesterday evening completing work on renovating the playing field. So I can guarantee and assert personally that this is a false claim and false act that is being spewed across the media in a libelous manner. No impeachment meeting, investigation, or trial was ever called to order or executed by the full Maroon Council as required by the Maroon constitutional law. Under my administration, Accompong Town has had the most town hall meetings of any of the chiefs in previous administration. To date, we've had 18 town hall meetings in 18 months. Yes, I've been in office 18 months. At no point in time have these people who I've just mentioned once attended a town hall meeting or openly aired any grievance. Furthermore, many of the named persons just now do not reside in Accompong. Most of these names are people, as I mentioned, are loyalists of former Colonel Williams. At the same time, as I said, there are others who have reached out to me since, quite contrary to what this document would outline. Therefore, it is very easy to establish who the players are and to see with common sense the concerted efforts to try and remove me from this office as soon as possible, perhaps before September 30, which is the next court date. There has been much evidence released recently to the public since the efforts to have a joint operation with the Jamaica Constabulary Force did not materialize, which can prove that Ferron Williams, his previous administration, misappropriated and possibly embezzled Maroon funds from the Accompong Town bank account. I have shown where $1 million was siphoned through the Accompong Development Foundation banking account, US dollar account, that was not disclosed to the community nor the council, nor was anyone notified of this money. Mr. Williams and his associate, Timothy McPherson, were the only two signatories on this account. When Mr. McPherson was questioned recently on his sojourn here to Accompong, he declared that that was a personal account and not the state account, even though it was created under the entity registered Accompong Development Foundation. To this day, there's no accountability as to where those funds went, but we do have physical printouts and also ledgers showing where these monies would have been sent to, many accounts to which monies were transferred to, many elements and factors external to a compound and a compound's governance, particularly the Maroon Secretariat, which is now known as YCOIL, showing up in this bank account. Many issues, many individuals, from my community receiving monies from this account. Within less than 2 years, approximately $1 million US. And just this one account that was found was siphoned, and to this day we have not received any answers. This building that I'm now sitting in was built as a part of a banking venture to which the said players were part and party to. This building was announced with a groundbreaking ceremony to the community as a town hall building, meaning the office of the chief, the meeting rooms, and staff headquarters would be located and operate in perpetuity, similar to the White House, King's House, etc. Mr. Williams has returned this year claiming the building, saying this is personal property. I'm bringing this to the light of the people. This information was shared, made public, and I still have not been contacted by the authorities, having already sat with Mocha for 2.5 hours, expressing and sharing information, and also making a personal report at the Magati police station over a year ago. So to witness the gall that Mr. Ferran Williams, who was just 18 months voted out of office in a democratic election where the people made their voices heard, after 11 years of stress, duress, and coercion under his leadership, got to extremes to assemble a team of people to carry an unlawful attempt to overthrow a chief, that this man will go at any extreme to become the chief again. The question each person with a good sound mind and reason must ask: why not honor the law as the people's will, as is the people's will? Even more telling that Mr. Williams was just recently granted an order of distinction only months after I would have made those reports by the government of Jamaica. I must ask the government of Jamaica if this is the type of people you award with such prestigious honor, who goes around trying to overthrow democracy. I will seek a reply to this question formally at another date. The funny thing about this matter is that many people believe that I am against the Jamaican government and that I have a vendetta against Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Nothing could further be from the truth. In fact, I shook Andrew Holness's hand when he came here in 2019 and made all those promises to us as Maroons. He said to me, we will fix it, we will fix it. And until today, Prime Minister, we are still waiting for it to be fixed. The fact is, the Andrew Holness-led government of Jamaica recognized me as an elected chief of my people at the formal visit to Gordon House last year, where I was invited by the President of the Senate, Honorable Tom Tavares Finson. There I also sat with the Speaker of the House, Minister Dalrymple, honored to have had dialogue with both individuals. There have been issues indeed, but nothing that we as grown people cannot handle. Nothing I have said has not been law, within the law, has not been factual, and I have information and enough support to back it. As history has shown us, the enemy is not always the outsider or a foreigner. It is most time with your own people, who will put you down in the mud and betray your trust and sell their birthright, all because of lack of knowledge. The clear issue that confronts me and my people is that the other Maroon chiefs in Jamaica have turned their backs on a compound because of various promises and dealings that occurred prior to my arrival. As a professional forensic auditor, when I first took office, I did a full-scale review of a compound's books. Nothing was handed over to me. I only got keys to a bus, 2 expired contracts, and 1 bank book from former Colonel Williams. No other documents and engagements with external parties, contracts, pending engagements were passed on. It didn't take me long to realize that a major financial scam was being run through a compound in which the same Maroon Secretariat which I mentioned, Wycall, was a party. I chose silence and chose to give my fellow chiefs a pass. As much as it hurt me, I didn't want to see them go down. I chose instead simply not to join the Secretariat. Since I refused their invitation to join their organization, they turned against me and have sought to tear me down in every point. We had a meeting just before they went and met with the Prime Minister on Sunday. And in that meeting, we committed to each other that we'd start afresh in a new page, a new direction, and commit to putting each other to the test in coming up with a dialogue, with a paper that we put forward in dialogue with the Prime Minister together as a unit. And within 4 days, they broke that trust. Within 4 days, they called me to tell me that they've decided to go to the meeting. I requested an urgent meeting, which happened that night. It is on recording. They sent it to me. We have it all recorded. None of them could give a valid reason as to why there was a change in heart and change in voice and change in the oath that we took to each other. I then asked the question, for what shall we gain, brothers,